Have you ever walked into a room and felt an invisible urge to shrink yourself just a little? Smile more than you meant to, laugh at something unfunny, nod when you disagreed, just to make sure they liked you. That flicker of unease you felt, like a small betrayal of your own spirit, wasn't just politeness. It was survival. But survival at what cost? From childhood, we are told to be good, agreeable, easy to get along with. We're told to blend in, not cause trouble, not offend. So we edit ourselves. We mute our opinions, dilute our desires, and contort our character into whatever shape we believe will win us affection. We become masters of performance, and worse, believers in our own illusion. Here's the paradox that no one talks about. The more you try to be liked, the less you are respected. Think about that. The man who constantly seeks validation becomes forgettable. The woman who bends her will to keep peace is often taken for granted. The person who tries to please everyone ends up pleasing no one, least of all themselves. It's a quiet epidemic, this craving to be liked. And it runs deeper than social awkwardness or insecurity. It touches the raw nerve of identity itself. Because the desire to be liked isn't just about relationships. It's about fear. Fear of rejection, fear of judgment, fear that without the approval of others, we might cease to exist in any meaningful way. But here's the truth that should unsettle you. Being liked is cheap. Being respected is rare. Being liked often requires nothing more than conformity. A smile, a compliment, a joke that lands. It's transactional, fleeting, based on what you give others emotionally. But being respected, that demands inner strength. It demands conviction, boundaries, and the willingness to be disliked in the name of truth. So ask yourself, how much of your personality is truly yours, and how much of it was engineered to be accepted? You see, the world is full of likable people who are quietly disrespected. The agreeable co-worker who's overlooked. The friend who's always there but never truly heard. The partner who never argues but feels invisible. They may be liked, but are they seen? Here's where it gets uncomfortable. We teach people how to treat us, not through our words, but through our need. When you need to be liked, people sense it, and they use it. Not always maliciously, but inevitably, because human nature is opportunistic. And nothing invites exploitation like a soul desperate to be accepted. But this is not where the story ends. There is another path, one that doesn't require you to abandon your humanity, but demands you reclaim your dignity. A path where respect is not demanded, but earned, through clarity, courage, and an unapologetic sense of self. Stay with this until the end, because once you understand what's really happening beneath the surface, psychologically, socially, even philosophically, you'll never see yourself, or the people around you, the same way again. Let's peel back the mask. The real reason you chase being liked lies much deeper than you think. The craving to be liked isn't just a social quirk. It's a psychological imprint etched deep into your nervous system. A reflex as ancient as your heartbeat. Unlike most traps, it began as protection. In early human history, exile meant death. To be cast out from the tribe was a death sentence. Your brain, shaped by millennia of this reality, evolved to fear rejection with the same intensity it fears physical pain. Neuroscience confirms this. Social rejection activates the same regions of the brain as physical injury. The pain of being ignored, shunned, or disliked isn't just emotional. It's biological. That's where the roots of this need begin, not in vanity, but in survival. But we no longer live in tribes. We live in sprawling, digital societies where approval is measured in likes, hearts, and smiling emojis. Yet the ancient software in your mind hasn't caught up. It still believes rejection could kill you. That's why you say yes when you want to say no. That's why silence feels threatening. Why confrontation terrifies you. It's your primitive wiring, screaming, "Please don't cast me out." Carl Jung once said, "The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are." But few ever claim that privilege, because who you truly are is often messy, raw, opinionated, things that don't guarantee social approval. So instead of wholeness, we pursue harmony, not inner harmony, but outer. We strive to avoid friction, even at the cost of becoming hollow. This is the psychological trap. You mistake approval for identity, If others like you, you must be good. If they don't, something must be wrong. But here's where Nietzsche slashes through the illusion. He believed that the pursuit of approval was a form of slavery, a denial of one's inner will. His call was simple but brutal: become who you are. That's not an encouragement. It's a confrontation. It means stripping away all that you've borrowed to become likable: your false humility, your polite masks, your agreeable lies. And what about Sartre? He warned us, hell is other people. But not because people are inherently evil, because we let them become mirrors we live inside. Their opinions imprison us. Their praise dictates our self-worth. We become characters in their play, forgetting we ever had our own script. So here's the core of the hidden problem. You've internalized the crowd's gaze. Even when you're alone, you're being watched by the audience you've built in your head. And they're never satisfied. That mental tribunal judges your choices, your tone, your silence, and you obey it. You shape yourself to be palatable, not powerful. What you believe is a personality is often just armor, not confidence, camouflage, not kindness, compliance. But what happens when the need to be liked becomes your operating system? What happens when your worth depends entirely on how others see you? You don't just lose your authenticity, you lose your ability to lead, to command, to be respected. And the consequences of that are far more dangerous than you've realized. Let's look at what that loss does to your life, quietly, subtly, completely. You think you're just being nice, that you're keeping the peace, that you're doing the right thing by avoiding conflict, by saying yes when your chest screams no, by holding back your truth just to keep others comfortable. But here's the harsh reality: every time you do that, a small part of you disappears. It doesn't happen all at once. It's slow, quiet. You barely notice it. That's what makes it dangerous. The more you try to be liked, the more you start to forget who you really are. Not because someone forced you, but because you slowly gave pieces of yourself away, thinking it would earn you love, approval, belonging. And it works. For a while. People may smile. They may call you sweet, easygoing, so chill. But beneath that praise is a darker truth. They don't take you seriously. They may like you, but they don't respect you. They won't listen when you speak with hesitation. They won't follow someone who always folds. They won't value what seems too eager to be accepted. Respect and likability live in two different worlds. Respect is earned through strength, boundaries, and clarity. Likability is often given to those who bend, shrink, or stay quiet. And the more you chase the second, the more you kill the first. Psychologists call it self-abandonment, when you choose other people's comfort over your own truth. Over time, this creates resentment. You start to feel invisible, used, empty. But you blame yourself, thinking, maybe I just need to try harder, be nicer, be more positive. No, that's the trap talking. This isn't just a personal issue, it's a societal one. We are conditioned from birth to please. Girls are told to smile more. Boys are told to stay out of trouble. Kids are rewarded for obedience, not originality. School punishes you for questioning. Work punishes you for pushing boundaries. Society praises the polite, not the powerful. So we learn to trade our voice for comfort, our honesty for peace, our fire for approval, and we call it being good. But look around. Is it working? So many people feel drained, anxious, and disconnected, but they don't know why. They think it's stress, or lack of sleep, or social media. But underneath all that, something deeper is rotting. They've built a life based on being liked instead of being real. Even the brain plays a trick here. Cognitive biases like the confirmation bias or spotlight effect make you believe people are watching and judging you more than they actually are. Your mind exaggerates every social moment. It makes rejection feel like disaster. It makes disagreement feel like danger. So you keep performing, smiling, agreeing, softening your tone. And the longer you do this, the more you become forgettable, replaceable, safe, but small. But what if you stopped? What if you took off the mask and said, This is who I am, like it or not. We getting there. First, you need a breakthrough, a shift in how you see yourself and the world around you. Because once you see the lie for what it really is, you'll never go back. Imagine waking up tomorrow and deciding, I'm done trying to be liked. Not in a bitter or rebellious way, but in a calm, firm, unshakable way, like someone who has remembered something they forgot a long time ago. That's the shift. That's the moment everything begins to change. Because respect, real respect, doesn't come from charm. It doesn't come from fitting in or being the nicest person in the room. It comes from clarity, self-trust, and boundaries. And boundaries aren't walls. They are the invisible lines that say, this is who I am, and this is how I live. No apology, no softness, no shrinking. Now here's the paradox. The moment you stop chasing approval, people begin to notice you. Not just see you, but feel your presence. It's like an internal weight gets lifted, and suddenly your words carry more power. Your silence becomes louder. Your presence feels heavier. This isn't arrogance. It's authenticity. And authenticity is rare, which is why it commands attention. But how do you get there? First, you must learn to tolerate disapproval. Yes, tolerate it. Let people misunderstand you. Let them be uncomfortable with your truth. Let them think you've changed. Because you have. You're no longer a mirror. You're a fire. You're no longer adjusting your tone so others feel safe. You're speaking clearly so that you feel free. This takes practice. You'll feel guilt at first. The inner child in you, the one that once feared rejection like death, will panic. But breathe through it. The guilt is a sign of healing, not of wrongdoing. Next, study the people you admire, not the ones who are popular, the ones who are respected. Think of people like Marcus Aurelius, who led with calm and strength, or James Baldwin, who spoke truth to power without flinching, or Maya Angelou, who said, I'm not what happened to me, I am what I choose to become. What do they all have in common? They weren't trying to be liked. They were being true, and because of that, people followed them, even when they disagreed with them. Respect often begins where likability ends. It's also about learning the power of saying no, not out of anger, but out of alignment. When you say no to things that drain you, something strange happens. People begin to value your time. They stop expecting you to always be available. Your absence becomes meaningful. Your presence becomes a choice, not a given. And here's a truth few are willing to admit. Being liked is often a form of control. When you try to be liked, you're trying to control how others see you. That's not kindness. That's fear. But when you focus on being respected, you release that need to control. You show up fully, even if others don't approve. You start choosing your values over validation. You start acting from principle, not pressure. You speak less, but say more. You stop oversharing. You begin to understand that not everyone deserves access to your vulnerability, that your energy is sacred, and not everyone gets a seat at your table. And slowly, people will adjust. Some will leave. Some will criticize. But the right ones will stay, and they'll meet you at your level, not pull you back into their comfort zone. Because here's the secret. The more you respect yourself, the more others will too. It's not about being harsh. It's about being real. Not about being cold, but about being clear. Respect is quiet. It doesn't beg. It doesn't chase. It simply is. And once you taste it, you'll wonder why you ever traded it for something as fragile as being liked. But there's one final truth, deeper than all of this. A truth that changes how you see everything. Your past, your pain, your purpose. Let's go there. What if the reason you craved being liked wasn't just about people? It was about pain. What if your need for approval was never about them, but about something buried deep inside of you? Here is the truth most people never reach. The desire to be liked is not a desire for connection. It's a survival strategy born from wounds. When you were younger, maybe a child, maybe a teen, you learned something painful. That being yourself wasn't always safe. That expressing what you really thought wanted, or felt sometimes brought punishment, silence, or rejection. So you adapted. You became agreeable. You smiled even when it hurt. You stayed quiet when something inside of you was screaming to speak. You became what the world wanted, because you were afraid that being anything else would make you unloved, unwanted, or alone. That adaptation became your identity. And now, even as an adult, part of you still carries that silent rule. If I'm not liked, I won't be safe. But here's the brutal beauty of growing up. You are no longer that helpless child. You no longer have to trade your truth for belonging. You don't have to become small to survive anymore. You're allowed to take up space, to have sharp edges, to be misunderstood and still feel whole. Respect begins the moment you stop living from your wounds and start living from your truth. Not everyone will get it. That's okay. They don't need to. Because the ultimate realization is this: you were never meant to be liked by everyone. You were meant to become fully yourself, whatever that looks like. Think about it. Every great thinker, artist, revolutionary, those who changed the world, were not widely liked. Many were hated, criticized, misunderstood, but they were respected. Why? Because they refused to betray themselves. Because they valued truth over comfort. Because they knew that the approval of the crowd is a weak reward compared to the peace of self-respect. Let others chase the applause. You chase alignment. Let others soften their voice to fit in. You speak like your voice matters, because it does. Let others worry about being seen. You focus on seeing yourself clearly first. You don't need everyone to love you. You just need to stop abandoning yourself. And when you do, you won't just be respected, you will be free. So, ask yourself, right now, would you rather be liked for who you pretend to be, or respected for who you truly are? Because only one of those paths leads to peace, and it's the one that starts with you. Drop your thoughts below. Thank you for staying. Don't forget to like and subscribe.